Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what was the discussion last time?
Ma'am, practical 2 and 3.
Practical 2 and 3. So it means that we are done with the 50% of practical set 1, which covers practical 1, retrieving the IP address of a given host name. And practical number 2 was retrieving the web page content. And practical number 3 was a simple chat application. Fine, we're done with that. So that was from my end. Let me check what you people have done. So I'm asking the random screen share. I'll start with Madhvi. Madhvi, are you done with all three? Madhvi, are you done with all three? Guys, see, if it is attendance, you are giving reply so quickly. You can't be this unfair. So just tell me, Madhvi, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So you need to share your screen. I'm so sorry, guys. I lost the connection. So I was asking Madhvi and Harsh to share the screen. Am I audible now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So I was asking, like, at least you have to say your status. Going to share or not sharing, not done or done, whatever is the status. Catching me?
Yes, I'm done with the program, but I'm opening my NetBeans.
Okay. It's okay. You can share your screen. I need to check the code in your system.
Yes, ma'am, 2 minutes.
Yeah. Otherwise, I have complained, like, it's not always students will complain about the faculty members. At times we do have complaint. Whenever I take attendance, everybody is listening properly. When I say screen share, half of the students won't get my voice. So that's not fair. Madhvi, still you're not getting my voice? She left. Seriously. Okay. What about Ravi, Soni, and Sakshi?
Yes, ma'am.
Share
Yes,
your
ma'am.
screen. Yeah. So I'm glad my voice is reaching to you. So can we have screen share?
Yes, ma'am. Just a minute. My NetBeans is opening.
Madhvi. Okay, Ravi saying just a minute. Okay. So who's going to share? Guys, can we be little fast in screen share? And this is request to everyone to get ready with your screen share. Nivya is saying, ma'am, I have completed practical 1 and 2, but not able to share the screen because I'm out of town and I don't have my laptop. Nivya, I expect at least you will do it till next lab. Yes or no? Nivya? Okay. Guys, if any one of you is not ready to have screen share, then tell me so that I can move forward.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am?
Okay, Sanskar, go ahead.
Ma'am, I'm also ready.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead. One by one.
May I or Sanskar?
Yeah, go ahead, Harsh.
Ma'am, I am presenting.
Yeah, Sanskar, I got your screen. Harsh, hang on. After Sanskar, you can share
Okay,
your
ma'am.
screen.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I can. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. This is practical 1.
Okay,
This is second.
fine.
Ma'am, this is third, my client and my server.
Okay. And the second one? Is it containing header information? Where is page information? Page content? We taken an input
Yes, ma'am.
stream
Yes, ma'am.
object that stream.read. That portion is left over, right?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I have the videos.
Yeah, just complete that. Okay, you can stop sharing your screen. Harsh, go ahead.
Same, I have to also do that.
Oh, okay, half done. Are people using something like last year program? I guess I only did
No,
that
ma'am.
mistake. Last year I haven't given. Or from somewhere you are taking? So
No,
try to
ma'am.
do it by your own. That's just a suggestion. Anyways, let us go ahead and if anyone wants to share, then they can go ahead. Otherwise, I'll move with the fresh discussion. Anyone?
No,
Ma'am, I
it's
have
okay. You can start the press one.
Yeah, go ahead. Who wants to share? Like somebody said, I want to. Go ahead.
No, I don't want to. I have left some. That's why. I will
Okay,
complete
so,
in.
okay. I will do one thing. Till the next lab, we'll complete 2 more programs. So you can show me 5 programs together in the next lab. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Then.
Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
So before starting today's discussion, I have few questions from the theory discussion. Can anyone reply me that if I want to go with connection oriented scenario, right? What are the classes? First, connection oriented scenario in client server application, right? How many programs we will require? How many .java file? Are you getting the question? I'm saying to have connection oriented scenario, how many .java files are required in client server application?
Ma'am, socket and server socket.
These are the classes, right?
Yes,
And
ma'am.
I require 2 Java files. One is for client side and one is for server side. I'll make client.java and I'll make server.java. Fine. Now, let us look at today's definition. Today we are going to go with practical number 5 and 6, right? 4th we'll do next time. Right now we'll focus on practical number 5 and 6. So let us discuss how we can go ahead with that. So the problem statement which is given over here is write a client server program where client is sending a string. This is practical 5, practical set 1, program 5. It says write a program to send any string from standard input. From the client program, you have to send any string from the standard input to the server program. The server program reads the string, finds the number of characters and digits, and send it back to the client. And you have to use connection oriented scenario, right? And the sixth practical is almost the same, except here it is connectionless. Fine. So if I want to go with connection oriented scenario, what all I need? Client side. What I'll need? Which class? Connection oriented scenario.
Socket and server socket.
Socket and server socket also will need at the client side.
No,
No,
ma'am.
not at the client side.
So that will need at the server side, right? Server side will go with the server socket and socket. I guess my screen is slow. Can you see that I have written both the classes?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
I guess my screen is lagging. Guys, give me a second. I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so let us discuss meanwhile. If I want to go for the input from the keyboard, what are the ways in Java? How can I take input from the keyboard?
Scanner, buffer reader.
Yeah, we can go either with the scanner or buffer reader. So this time we'll go with the scanner class. Okay, even if you wish, you can go with the buffer reader class also, no problem. Fine. So we will be using a scanner class object to read the string. Okay, so we are clear that first problem definition says client has to read a string from the standard input. We'll use the scanner class for that, and the same string client has to send to the server. How will do that? How we will send it to the client?
Write UTF using.
Write UTF, very good. So write UTF is the method belonging to which class?
Data output stream.
Data output stream. Perfectly, right? What next? What do you think? What would be the next step? What would be the next step?
Server.
Yeah, we have to write the server program, and in server program, what we'll do? We'll use a socket server as well as server socket as well as socket classes object. Fine. And there we are going to read the string. Okay. And when you will read the string, you are trying to process the string which you have received from the client side, right? So to read the string from the client side, we need read UTF, and read UTF is the method of which class? Method
Data
of
input stream.
data input stream, exactly. So can you check out my screen now, right?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
we want is we want client program, we want server program. Client side, both the side will create the sockets. The method accept is the method which can be having only at the server side, because server has to accept the connection on the socket. Fine. Once it is done, here we'll take a local variable str with the help of scanner object, right? And we'll use data output stream. We'll use data output stream because we want to send this data back to the client. back to the server, right? So we are using an object d out, and with the help of that d out, we will use the write UTF, and we will send that string. Fine. Now, once the string is reaching here, your server has to read that string using data input string object, because it is having the function data input string class is having a method which is read UTF. Whatever you are reading, you will give it to a local string. Now you have that data in your local variable, right? Now you see what is the problem definition. It says server has to read the string. So up till now, server has read the string. Now what we have to do is, we have to find out number of characters and digits. How we will find out? How will find out number of characters and digits? Suppose user has sent, client has sent Taru 123. So what you will do? You will count TARU 4. You will count 1, 2, 3. That is total 3. So you will say that there are 4 characters and 3 digits. Have you come to know? Because you have divided entire string. You have looked at the individual part. This is what logically you do in your mind. And then you keep on counting. Simple arithmetic. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 characters. 1, 2, 3. 3 digits. How can I do this with the help of program? I have to access the index of my string. Yes or no? Right? I'll start from index 0 till length of the string, till I is less than string length. Fine. Now I'll take 2 counter variable, character count, right? Initially I'll made it 0. This is integer variable. I'll take digit count. Initially it is 0. Now I'm accessing the string starting from 0th element. My 0th element in the entered string is T, capital T. Fine. And the last element is digit 3. I have to access all this using, because we treat array as a string. So if I want to match and see the particular array element of given string, I can use string dot. Which method? For the comparison, to get the value of ith element, which string method you will use?
Caret.
Yeah, character at, and you will specify the position. So you'll say character at ith position, and you are saying if it is greater than or equal to small a, you are giving the range. You are giving a range. You say character dot. Character at ith position.
The screen is again paused.
Sorry?
In between, your screen was paused. Now it is.
No, yeah, because I was not typing much. Now it is fine, right? If it is the case, then I'll do, if this condition is getting satisfied, what I have to do is, I have to make, yeah, my screen has gone. Don't worry, I'm sharing it again. I have to make the character count ++ if condition is satisfied, right? This will going to count all the lower cases. This if condition will count all the lower cases which are there in my input, right? In my string. But you can see at times user may go with the capital letters also. So we know that even if it is lowercase or capital case, in both the case, it's a character. So I'll apply the second condition. This time I'll compare the range of the ith element of your array string with the capital letters. Fine. Now, I don't have to do any arithmetic operation. I have to just count the digits. So it's fine. I'm not doing any conversion. I'm treating the array element of the given string as a character only, and I'm matching it with the range 0 to 9. If it is satisfying the last condition, we know that it could be a digit. It is a digit. So I am making digit count ++. Is it clear? Is it clear?
Yes.
Fine. Now, see, divide the whole project into the chunks and solve it, and you'll get the solution. What we did? We wrote a client program to send a string using standard input. So here to send a string, we need a socket, we need a string, scanner object, data output stream, we wrote it to the server. Then say server reads. To read from incoming request, server required server socket, socket acceptance of connection, data input stream object, and we are reading with the help of data input stream object, read UTF. Now we have things in local variable. We said server has to find number of characters and digits. So up till now, at last here, when loop is finishing the execution, we got number of characters and digits. Now what we have to do is send it back to client. How we will send it back? Are you getting? Now I have two integer variables, character count and digit count. I have to send it back to client. How I will send it? Which object and which method?
Write UTF.
Yeah, exactly. So I'll go with the data output stream object, right? I have not used it before here in this code, so I'm creating now, right? And I can use dout dot write int. Directly I can send integer value, okay? And I can write character count as well. I can write dout dot write int, and I will be writing digit count. Now once it is sent, it has to reach to client. It will reach to client, and client has to read it, because we need to display the answer, right? Up till now it is in variable, nowhere we have displayed. So to display it, because it is client's request, we have to display in the client program. So how will get those values in client program?
Data input stream.
Yeah, exactly. We will use data input stream because we need to apply read int method, which is belonging to data input stream din. So we'll use that object din. We'll say din dot read int, right? And whatever is there, you can take in an integer number, right? And you just display it. So both the things you have to take in a variable, right? And you have to read it, and whatever you have read in the client machine, it is in two variables. So you can use system.out.println, and you can display those two variables. Yes or no? Any doubt in this scenario? This is pseudocode for the entire logic, which is reading a string from the client side and processing it at the server side and sending response. If we are going with connection oriented scenario, that's why we are using server socket and socket classes to establish the end point of communication between two programs, client.java and server.java. Fine. So let us see the code. Here is the code. So this is my client program. See, whatever is the pseudocode, we are applying it over here. Java.io, because we want to work with data input stream and data output stream classes. That's why we need to include it here. Util and NAT. Util to take input. NAT is for socket object socket class used in our program. Public class client, main method. We are writing try catch block, creating socket. So here we are specifying the IP address or host name of server and the port number. Taking dout object, taking scanner object, asking user system.out.println, enter URL. We are taking the input with the help of scanner object.next line, because for string we use the method next line. Now we have the input taken from the keyboard from client side inside a local variable str. We are sending that local variable str with the help of write UTF using the dout object, and this dout object is working on the socket, and the socket S is representing the IP address and port number of your server. So your dout.writeUTF will send it to the server on port 333. Now we will say dout.flush. It will clean the output stream. There's no data once it is sent to the server. Now we hope that server would have processed it up till this point, and now we are using data input stream object DIN for the same socket. So now from the server side, when response is coming, it will come on the port 333. We are reading out with the help of din.readInt. We are taking in a local variable, and with the help of system.out.println, we are printing the answer. Finally, we are closing the input stream, output stream, and the socket object. Fine? Is it clear? Question? Any question? Fine. Now look, yes? Anyone? Look at the server program. We'll use NAT class, NAT package, because we want to work with server socket and socket class. Java.io, because we want to work in data input stream and output stream. Public class server, main method. Inside try catch block, we are using the server socket. Why we want to use server socket? Because we want to use the accept method. Server has to accept incoming request for the connection, and for that purpose we have accept method. So that is available in server socket class only. That's why we have to go with server socket class. So we are accepting the connection on the socket as, and which is represented by port 333. First thing in the server, what we have to do is we have to read out the value, and finally the answer we have to calculate and send it back with the data output stream. So for that purpose, on the socket object as, we are getting the handle of input stream and output stream. We are creating the object, data input stream object DIN, and a data output stream object DOut. Now, whatever is there in the server, coming from the server side, using data input stream read UTF method, we are reading it. As we want to process it as a string, there is no need of any type conversion. You can directly assign it to a string. Taking two counter variable, character count and digit count, and taking a for loop to access the array of characters, which is your string coming through the input stream on port number 3333. We are accessing from first index till ith index of string is less than its length. Each time we are doing I++, so initially it will go with index 0, which is T, index 1, which is A, index 2, which is R, till last character it will go. Fine. We are giving the if condition and matching the each element's value. If it is capital A, yes.
Ma'am, in string, symbols are considered as a character?
Which symbols?
Like a hash symbols, dollar symbols.
Yes, because suppose you are giving a question mark, right? So all the special symbols, if you are sending through write UTF, they will be treated as a string only.
Okay.
So what we are doing is we are just matching it, and we are doing character count plus in case of small a to small z or capital A to capital Z range. Otherwise, we are doing the digit count plus if it is between 0 to 9. And finally, we are writing it back with the help of data output stream to the client. So we use write integer. So now only integer value we are passing. If you have used write integer, on the client side, you can use the method read int. Okay, so we are directly reading the integer values. And finally, we are closing input stream, output stream, socket, and server socket object. Any doubt? Anyone?
No.
Okay, so as usual, we require two output screen, two command windows. One where we will run the server, and the one where we'll run the client. Okay, so I'm running my server program, Java server. I have already compiled. Now server is waiting for connection. Now I'm running Java client program, and it is asking me to enter a string. I'm writing Taru123 and I'm pressing the enter. Can you see? Total characters 4 and digit 3. Yes or no? Fine?
Yes, ma'am.
See, if I'm running the first client program, it will say connection refused because accept method is not available to establish a connection. So first we need to run the Java program then accept method, then server is waiting for the connection. So when you will run the client program, the connection will be established. Suppose I'm entering this, taru@123. Somebody was asking this, will it be treated as character? Answer is yes, but we have not given an if condition to count special character. That's why it is not counting it. We just put the condition for capital A to capital Z, small a to small z. In this case, only we are doing character plus plus. That's why special symbols are treated as character, but in our logic, we have not counted. We are just counting small a to capital, capital A to capital Z and small a to small z. That's why even if I'm typing anything, it will not be taken in account because our problem definition says count the number of characters and digits. It's not saying count the number of special characters. That's why we are not taking in consideration. Is it?
Yes, yes, clear, ma'am. But if we have to implement the special character logic, how we can implement?
You can implement. What is wrong in that? Suppose you want to go with the program where you want to find out that, suppose I want a program that it has to find out whether my email address is from Gmail or it is from
Outlook.
Marwadi University. What I can do? I can take the position where is @ coming, right?
Yes,
and I
ma'am.
can use string after. Do you know that there's method substring after and substring before in Java?
Yeah.
I can find out and I can match it with the if condition, string dot equals, and if it is belonging to Gmail, I can say this email entered email is from Google domain, or entered email is from Marwadi University domain.
Okay.
Okay.
No, ma'am. But if we pass special character in string, so how we can find this is a special character?
You can use the comparison, no? See, right now, suppose I want to go with a counting of special character also, right? What I'll do is I'll put a if condition, I'll match it. How I'll match it? Same condition, right? But this time I have to match individually. Dot equals, double quote, I'll say @. So whatsoever are the symbol, I have to go with that.
No, ma'am. If we have to compare with all special characters.
You need to specify in logic. Nothing will come automatically.
Okay.
You need to specify. You can say or string dot character at ith position is equals to hash question mark. That way you can go. Let us suppose one more example. If I want to count number of words in a given paragraph, how we will go with that? Number of words in given paragraph, right? Client has to enter a paragraph and we'll count number of words. What do you think? What could be the logic?
We can create a logic like when space are coming, that time one word are complete.
This is string entirely. We'll take for loop from 0th position till the length. Okay, and this time we'll match that if it is equal to space. If it is equal to space, and what you have to do is
one word.
Yeah, you can take one more counter variable, word count plus. Fine, you can do that. You need to put the logic. You have to apply logic, conditions and all, and then it will work.
Okay.
I hope it is clear to everybody. Yes or no? So this was your connection-oriented scenario, which is your practical number 5. If you look at here, this was your syllabus. Practical 1, 2, 3 we did last time. Practical 5 just now we demonstrated. Right now we are reading out the definition. There's a bit change in the definition. You have to remove a part. I'll tell you what. So this is your practical 6, which we are going to discuss now. Can you read out the definition? It says write a client program to send a string from the standard input Again, how many programs will required? It is asking connection-less scenario. Same thing, but connection-less scenario. Obviously, we'll require 2 programs. It is not always needed to say client. Sometimes you can say sender and receiver. These are just synonyms of client server. In short, we're talking about 2 programs. Okay. What I'm saying is, where client program sends a string from the standard input. Again, scanner class is required at the sender side. What else? What else is required? Connection-less scenario. Which all classes you will take in consideration for implementing this problem statement?
Datagram packet.
Exactly. We'll go with datagram socket, right? And we will go with datagram packet. So if you talk about types of socket, there are basically 3 types of sockets. First, socket, which is establishing the end point of communication between any 2 programs, 2 applications. Server socket, which will be applicable only to the server. We can use it at the server side because it is having the method for accepting the connection. So we said ss.accept. Server socket class is having a method accept to accept the connection. This is about connection oriented scenario. But when you want to go with connection less scenario, where we are talking about UDP type of protocol, user datagram protocol, in that case, we as a sender, we are not bothered about whether the message has been received to the receiver or not. We are just sending and that's it. We are not giving acknowledgement. There is no 3-way handshaking. What does it mean? It means that here client will send a string through the standard input to the server program. Server program will read the string. It will find out the number of digit. And this time, if you are not sending back it to the client, then it's okay, right? Because we said client is not bothered about. So when we have connection less scenario, we are going to use datagram socket. So there are 3 types of socket: server socket, socket, and datagram socket. From that, server socket and socket are used at the with the connection oriented scenario, whereas datagram socket is used with connection less scenario. Fine. Now what we will do is we'll scan some value at the sender side in a variable, and this variable we will send to receiver with the help of datagram socket object, which we would have created in step 1, and for that we have the method which is saying send. We are sending a datagram packet 1. So you need to require you require a datagram socket. You require a packet, datagram packet. Now, datagram packet and datagram socket can be implemented using the constructors, and there are various ways to use those constructors. There are various variants of those constructors, such as we have datagram socket with default constructor, which is not taking any argument. We have a datagram socket with port number. So let me show you that, and then you will have the idea. Yeah, so I'm talking about datagram socket, this one. Can you see this? What we have is, we have datagram socket. These are the constructor. So this is default constructor, right? It is not taking any argument. The second variant, which takes port number as an argument, and the third variant takes port number and INET address object as an argument. So that depends what is the requirement of your application. Based on that, you can create a datagram socket. The first one will create, or it will bind to the available port. The second one will bind on the specified port. It will create a datagram socket and it binds to the given port. And the third one is going to make a socket on the specific IP on a given port number. So you need to give both host address, that is the IP address, and the port number. That is about datagram socket. Same thing, there are various versions of datagram packet constructor. Basically there are 2, right?
constructors of datagram packet. Datagram packet is the object which will carry the message to send or to receive on. Fine. So it is a message that can be sent or received in your Java program. So there are two variations. Either you can go with the datagram socket with array length. We know that the message which is getting passed is passed through the string, and we define that string is a sequence of bytes. If a string is a sequence of byte, we can represent string as an array of byte type of data type. If you recall, in your core Java, you said there are primitive data types, which includes integer, character, float, double, and byte. Do you recall that? So byte is a data type. Okay, so I'm using the byte array. That's the first argument. And whatever array you have used, you can specify its length. This is one version of datagram socket. Again, this is datagram packet second version, which is taking byte array length. Along with that, it takes third argument as an inet address, which is the address of receiver. From a sender program, if you want to send to a particular host, it means like from client you want to send to a server, then you can use this third argument as an IP address or as an inet object, which is representing the host address or IP address of a given receiver. And finally, we are specifying the port, on which port you are making this connection. Fine. So let us check to implement our program what we need. Here, we'll go with the default constructor. Then we'll take an inet address class object, and that inet address class will give as an argument. Fine. So we will create, first we are discussing sender side program. So let me show you receiver side. So what I need is, I need datagram socket, I need datagram packet. First we'll discuss the sender program. It's near equal to your client, right? So we say java.net.star because we want to go with datagram socket and datagram packet. We are using java.util because we want to take input. I've taken public class num character sender, taken a main method, throws an exception in case if we are not able to send a data packet. We are having datagram socket, we are creating it, and point of communication, because socket is the heart of all networking application. You require to create it for communication. Fine. So this is datagram socket object which will be used for the communication. Now using this datagram socket, we will send a packet, right? So first we required message to be sent. So we are taking the scanner class object and we are taking string input with the help of scanner object as.next line. We are saving it in a local variable, right? Up till now we have our message in our local system, right? Now to send it to the server, you need to have IP address of a server. An IP address of a server can be taken using inet address class. So we are taking an inet address class, creating an object IP. We are saying inet address.get by name, and we are giving the host name. Right now, our same system is server and same system is host. That's why we are mentioning the host name as local host. Local host. Fine. And now we are creating a datagram packet. Datagram packet is holding the actual message, length of the message, destination IP, and the port number. So I'm using the last, we have two variant in datagram packet constructor. I'm using the second variant, which is taking 4 arguments. So I'm taking a datagram packet class, creating an object dp1 is equal to new datagram packet constructor having 4 argument. Argument number 1, byte array. So I have taken string from the keyboard, input has been taken. So I'm over the string, I can apply the method string.get bytes, and it will convert given string into the array of bytes. I'm specifying the length, till what length the message would be, like I'm saying string.length. Specifying the destination or receiver IP address as datagram packet's third argument is object of INET address. That's why we have taken localhost IP address as an object of INET address. And finally, we are specifying the port number. Now, the datagram socket which we created here, DS, we are saying ds.send datagram packet, and we are sending that datagram packet to the receiver having the name localhost on the port number 3000. As this is the connectionless scenario, we are not expecting any acknowledgement, so we are closing datagram socket dot close. Fine? Fine? Is there any question? You can look at the code. Any question? Should I move forward?
Yes, ma'am. No question.
Okay. Then let us discuss the receiver program. Now, in receiver program will not require scanner class because we are not taking any input. It is coming through network. So we have to take datagram socket and datagram packet. Taken a class public class num character receiver, a main method. We are putting a try catch block and we are trying to create a socket on port 3000. This time it should be compulsory 3000 because sender is sending on the port 3000. The data packet which sender has sent is arriving on port 3000. So over here the port number should be same. Now, whenever you use any network application, you know that suppose you are using YouTube, and when you use YouTube, there will be certain videos, and when you click it, if the internet speed is slow, you see this page is buffering. Slowly it is coming around, right? So this is something which is getting buffer in my local system. If it is buffering, I need a certain memory area. I need certain memory area to hold the packets coming from the internet, so or through the network. So same thing at the receiver side, we require a memory space to hold the data packets which are coming from the network. Up till now, packet has not arrived. We have not received. We are just assigning a memory. And as I said, it will come through the socket, and socket accepts the data stream. That's why streams are the sequence of bytes. So we are taking a byte array. Through the byte array, we are creating a memory space to hold the data packets which will come through the network. So we have taken a byte array. We name it as buff because it's kind of a buffer memory, right? So we given this is like, you know, how you create your integer array. Similar way, byte is a primitive data type. So we created an array. Data type byte, square, which represents square box, which represents that this is array. Given a name buff, we said new byte and we specified length. We are assuming that it will accommodate within the 100 bytes. Now, whatever response will come, it will come as a data packet. So we should have an empty structure of a data packet, datagram packet in our receiver system also. So what we are saying is, we are saying that datagram packet DP is equal to new datagram packet. We said buff, 100. This is the first variant of your datagram packet object, if you recall. Can you see byte array and the length? Fine. So we have created now an empty data packet, right? So now we have structure. Our datagram socket on port number 3000 is waiting for data packet, and whatever data packet will come, we'll store it inside this data packet having the buffer area buff and 100 as a length, right? This is just a structure. We will consume that incoming packet and we'll save it there. So we are using datagram socket object DS. We are saying dot receive DP. Now whatever stream is coming, we are saving it inside the object DP. Are you getting the point? Everybody, are you clear with this 3 line? We are accommodating those incoming streams which are being received inside the object DP. So now we can use this DP and we can get the data. So we are retrieving it in a local variable string. We said string is equal to new string. Now over here, string is a object of a wrapper class named as string. str is an object of string wrapper class. What is wrapper class? In core Java, you learn it. What is wrapper class? Wrapper class is a class which is treating the built-in data type as a class object. Why we want to do so? Because whatever is coming as a DP, we want to give it in a string, and in that case, string. If I'm treating string as a class object, it will have certain methods which I can apply on. So here I'm calling or creating a string variable using the parameterized constructor of wrapper class string. I'm using the variant where I have 3 arguments of my string constructor. First one is actual data. So I'm saying that dp.getData. What is DP? DP is the datagram packet which we have received on the datagram socket on port number 3000. So I'm trying to get out the data, take the actual message from that packet. So I'm saying dp.getData. Now from where you want to read the data? From starting position. That is index 0 till the data packet's message length. So I'm saying dp.getLength. dp.getLength. Now assume that we gave the structure that will go for the 100 bytes. But if user has just to send hello, which is not taking 100 bytes, so it will consume the memory, or it will read starting from 0th index till the length of the message. It could be less than 100 bytes. So whatever is the length, it is reading it and it is storing inside the local variable string. Is it clear? Is it clear? Any question? Yes or no? Kindly
No.
acknowledge. Okay. So rest of the logic is same. Now we have data in local variable. So we are taking character count and digit count, making the condition check for capital and small characters and 0 to 9 digit. As it is connectionless scenario, sender has just broadcasted the message. It does not bother about the recipient. That's why we are printing the answer in the receiver side. So we have wrote system.out.println at the receiver side, and we are ultimately closing the socket. Because for the security purpose, we should not keep the sockets open. So we are saying datagram socket.close. Any question up till now? So you can compare both the scenario, how connection oriented and how connectionless things are working. Till date, we had more practice on connection oriented. Connectionless, we have practiced less. So I insist within 10-15 minutes, try to complete connectionless scenario in the lab. Next time when you are coming, you have to come up with both the solution, practical 4 and 5. That is connectionless and connection oriented, which is practical 4 and 5. Fine? Is it okay? If we talk about the session outcome, today we have learned the comparative, like how we can go with connection oriented communication and connectionless. And we learn how we can go with datagram socket and datagram packet, how we can use various methods of string to read the data, such as we said str.getData, and how we can process it in the terms of connectionless scenario. So that's it from my end as a technical discussion for today's session. If you have any technical query or doubt, you can raise your query now. Anyone? No queries?
No, ma'am, no doubts.
Okay. Then I insist kindly complete this program first. Okay, start with the sender program and complete it. You can start your implementation. I'm here in between if you are facing any technical issue.